I'm the man behind your favorite online presences. The most powerful authorities in this space are working with us to create real influence. We have been their content strategists to make sure that they are producing content that their audience truly cares about. For whatever offer they want to promote, we are the names behind it. And I'm going to be breaking down every strategy, every system, and every process that we've used to make this happen and teach it to you all today.
Welcome back to season 3 of Chew on This. Today, our guest is actually someone you have never heard of or met. And what I mean by that is somebody who's built their entire profile on an anonymous setting, on a profile that has no name, no identity, so that you can imagine who it is. Wiz of Ecom, many of you follow them on Twitter. Many of you seen the incredible content he creates. He's blessed his way here and actually released his identity with us here at Chew on This. So first of all, absolute honor to have you here. And tell us a little bit about yourself, because I think a lot of people want to know.
For sure. So first things first, the blessing is being able to sit here, breaking my anonymous status on the first podcast that I know would have the greatest impact, and something that I watch myself personally is Chew on This. I'm really grateful, guys.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
My story isn't something that I've shared too much about on socials, but it is something that I've documented throughout the years. So I've been in the game since I was about 14. I know a lot of people laugh at younger ages when it comes to business, but this is where I was introduced to forums. Forums like Black Hat World, forums like Hack Forums, where I was able to learn different types of business methods. And the reason I came into this space was early on, my father got scammed by someone we knew. And at 11 years old, I had to become very conscious of money. You had to become conscious about getting your parents out of a state where they were stuck in for years, where pain was happening. So I figured out a way with my cousin on online forums where we learned how to start affiliate marketing. So we went into YouTube. YouTube was an easy algorithm back in the day. I'm talking about you can unlist a video, bought it to 301 views, and you would be ranked for a specific keyword. So every keyword that we wanted for any affiliate offer that we had, we were top ranked. But we were working against the algorithms, and immediately after 3-4 months, methods got shut down and we had to innovate. So a couple years later, we started finding other ways to make money, and we found Instagram softwares, automations. We had this one software called Mass Planner, an invite-only platform where you can run thousands of accounts using proxies, and you were able to run them using reposts of other people's content, reposts with credit, of course, reposts of like follow-on follows, all these fun stuff. And we were able to grow to a few million followers.
Wow.
So we're 16 years old. We've mastered social media platforms, and we're thinking to ourselves, how can we put some money into our pocket? So we started getting approached by companies, Universal Music, for example, and they would pay us to run Instagram accounts. Not one Instagram account. Our pitch was this. We didn't know what offers were, none of this at the time. Pitch was, we'll build you 10 Instagram accounts in your niche. Each of those accounts will grow 3,000 targeted followers a month. Instead of having one account and going to agencies that grow one account to 3K followers a month, we'll have 30K followers growing in your niche. And then we would help them create these individual funnels, capture some emails. Things were working well. I went to university. I hated my life over there, dropped out first year. It's a basic story. And I had this opportunity with one of my clients to fly to Pakistan. And why Pakistan? He had an office. He was one of my clients where he owned a real estate platform. And he's like, come work with me, partner with me, and let's build this office into something exceptional. So we started with SaaS, and he realized, hey, SaaS is expensive. We had a team of developers. Things weren't always clicking when it comes to the money side, startup, the normal stories. And my partner and I were like, hey, let's go into ecom. So my partner was in ecom back in 1998, OG days eBay. He would go to Haiti, buy paintings, because he lived in Latin America, buy paintings, post them on eBay, handmade, hand-drawn Haitian paintings, and he would sell them for $10, $15, $20, $30,000, 18, 19 years old. Wow. So he's like, how difficult can ecom be? Me, I'm a kid, I'm in my teens. I'm like, you know what? I trust what he's saying. Let's go into this. First store fills, second store fills, fifth store, eighth store, 10th store. We didn't get a first successful store until number 12. This is 2018, right? 12, 13. And the first stores that started working, anime niche. Then we had phone case niche. And these are the days where you had seasonal products of just like, I could get an IP68 waterproof phone case, right? And this is before a mouse case and all of these guys came in heavily. So we would go to the Himalaya mountains in Pakistan, and we would take the phone cases and we would drop them from mountains, right? we would put mustard on them and all these weird things, contraptions, and then we would drop them on rooftops where the mountains are in the background, trying to do anything that we can do for viral content. And we had our own Instagram accounts automated, and we would use these Instagram accounts to talk about like just any type of viral videos where you have crazy thumbnails, and the Instagram accounts had our phone cases going on in the background. We saw which angle worked, and then we ran ads to those angles. So no more testing of what products were. That was our little system that we had. So things started working well, ecom started working, and we started expanding our team. 15 people, 25, 30, hired media buyers, and we started hiring consultants and coaches, paying those people to teach our internal team. My partner always believed in having your own team. It's not really hiring out freelancers and contractors. He wants the people's time to believe in that one vision, and it instilled in my head. And this is something that I made a mistake with later on in my journey. We can talk about that. But I basically would start building all of these DTC brands in the space. We had media buyers. We started learning email. This is when you can go ahead and pitch. We'll add 30% extra revenue to your brand, right? Yeah. Back in the days. SMS marketing started coming out, messenger marketing with ManyChat. So we started going to all these types of events. New York, we used to go to Charge X events in 2019. And we started saying, hey, why not pitch these out as our own services as well too. So we started going to recharge events and closing people who had subscription-based businesses, and we would offer them, okay, let's try paid ads. We did that for one client, $2,500 payment. Back in 2019, we refunded because we couldn't get the results. Then we figured out what actual systems are for service-based delivery, and we started adding more and more deliverables into our offer, and things were working. We were able to charge more for the clients. We had bigger names come in, people doing $1 million on a monthly basis, and we started really understanding the e-com engine. So at this point, my business partner was like, let's expand this. We know Shopify. We know how to engineer applications. Let's do Shopify apps. Mm-hmm. So we started Shopify apps, upsell apps, Facebook apps, like pixel tracking apps, partner with people who had their own apps, and we were helping them develop those as well too. And we had this entire ecosystem that we created. But remember, I came in as a kid. I came in my teens. He already had the companies. So I was a minority partner holder in all the businesses. I didn't take anything for myself. I was taking 1,000 Canadian a month. That's 700 US, right? 1,000 Canadian a month. I didn't really have a lot to do besides get the experience there. So I lived in this 8x8 room in my office in Pakistan, where I would walk out of my room. You would see it. We boarded it off, my mattress on the ground. I could show you guys pictures as well to add into this, but it was an 8x8 room, and I would walk outside and I would have my team there all around the clock, almost 7 days a week, because we had the night shift who would work customer support for North America. We had the night shift who would do sales for the SaaS products, and then we had the day shift. So I would walk out in my pajamas, towel on, slippers, walking to this bathroom right across the office. The shower wasn't even a real shower. It was spitting on you, right? Just to get a little bit of water. And that was my life for years until we scaled, got our first place in 2019. And in December of 2019, I realized I was very unhappy with what I was doing, right? This wasn't something that I realized was for me, because I'm putting all this effort in. I wasn't getting out as much out. So I flew to Mexico to a small island called Yelapa off the coast of Puerto Vallarta, and I stayed there for a few weeks. And the only way to travel there is ATVs or donkeys, completely out of the world. It's a break. And they had one beautiful crescent beach. So I went there and I took a mental trip, and I came back and I realized I don't want to be in this partnership anymore. So I left the partnership. That was its own story. Partner and I had our own difficulties, but we reconciled everything as well too. And I started my own businesses, which was off of my own personal brand now. But I didn't want my face out there. I was always a little bit uncomfortable with having me being the face of this all. I knew the importance of having a face for the brands, right? You would see brands like booty brands have like Danita Young, who was the face of the brand, and having education for it. You would see some of these keto brands or these Japanese subscription box brands. All of them had a face specifically. So we were enticed by building a community for the specific brands. So I'm like, okay, why don't I try building where I can teach, provide some value to people, and start my own agency? So I went into the easiest offer back in the day, 3.5 years ago, email marketing. email marketing agency. Started my own forum because I started with forums called the Utopia. I was able to scale that to 6,500 total members, which monthly subscribers. We started our own marketing agencies in the personal brand niche, built SaaSes in the AI space, and the rest is history.
Wow. Thank God we don't have to give intros. That is phenomenal. I so much to like unpack there, but I think it'd be really cool to maybe start at like where what the last 12 months have looked like for you. And then and touch a little bit about like who you're working with today and what type of impact you're driving for a lot of what you're working on.
So you've seen the intro of this podcast where we're talking about the man behind the most powerful personal brands. It didn't start off this way. My main offer wasn't necessarily personal branding. My main expertise and specialty wasn't personal branding. It was more of my own DTC related agencies. So I came in 2022, I came to Carl Weiss and Dylan Ander, massive names in the space. But at the time, they had less than 1,000 followers. Dylan had 600, Carl had 100. Both came to me in March of 2022 asking me, hey, Wiz, I like how you built your personal brand. Can you help us out? So I created a makeshift offer. So one-time payment, $2,000. Biggest, and they started copying my frameworks, implementing everything that I was just teaching them. I didn't have right systems. I didn't feel right making this into a real offer at the time. And they started building their online presences, and Carl closed a 9-figure brand. Carl got invited to AdWorld. Carl started becoming this mogul in the space. Simultaneously, Dylan, his direct competitor, was starting the same week with me, was closing, I think it was $40,000 or $60,000 worth of deals in his first 8 days, right? And these people are coming into building their online presences with their faces out there, showing authority of technical content in their stories and flexing results, quote unquote. And they too became the biggest names in the space. So I'm like, let me try duplicating this. I'm a systems guy. I'm a processes guy. When I think of a system, I think of adding floors on top of each other. And to add floors, you need to have 4 pillars. Those 4 pillars are the systems that you're creating. If the systems are wobbly, you will fall down and the company will fall. If you can add enough floors and layers, you'll never drop down a specific revenue point, and you'll never drop down a specific point of results that you can deliver. To create those systems, you have to manage with the right people. So I hired people. I started bringing people in from my other agency into this offer. We scaled at that point. We had about over a dozen employees of September of 2022. And we started working with some bigger names in the space. We brought on Jordan Ross. I don't know if you guys heard of this gentleman. He works with the biggest agency owners in the world, 8 and 9-figure agency owners as their automations and systems guy. And I was just duplicating this formula for people without them hindering their own inner voice, right? Inner voice is something you gotta practice and you gotta train. And I learned this from some guy named Brother Lobo. If you're not training your inner voice consistently, and you have these nuanced phrases that you understand in your mind that other people, when they read it, they're like, aha, that makes sense. You know, you see someone's tweet or someone's post or someone's podcast, when people are watching this, like, I was thinking this. I didn't know how to put this into words. That's an inner voice. So how do you make sure you're providing value while being different, while being true to yourself? That's the infusion. That was this trinity that I was obsessed with, and that I was getting more and more like deeper into. So I started studying propaganda. I started studying what makes people tick. How can you rally up a mass group of people? I started studying hypnosis. I looked into Richard Bandler and John Grinder, the founders and the fathers of hypnosis, and they're talking about concepts of spreading a message to people around a specific narrative. And then propaganda, the founder and the father of propaganda, Edward Bernays, talks about conviction or repetition leads to conviction. If I can repeat something in a summarized message enough, and that narrative is targeting a specific common enemy in the space, and this is something I learned from my friend Atlas Dentes Leo as well too, is if you can combine those together while providing your value, you're gonna be able to create people who believe in what you believe. Anyone you want to tap into, you could reach out to. A prime example being what we're doing today. I'm an anonymous account, but when I walked into the podcast or when I walked into the office, you guys were like, it's great to finally put a face to the brand. You didn't even know to this day who I was. right? And it was possible
That's right.
because of the messages of pure conviction that I was able to produce. So that's that.
You know what I think is super interesting is like we all always talk about like network and audience. Okay, like what's my network like, and then audience is who do you speak to, right? And it's like our life kind of revolves around that, right? Your network is like friends, family, colleagues, this, that, people who are in your literal Rolodex, and the audience is where you're spending all your time. Okay,
Yeah.
so your Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, everywhere, right? That's your audience, right? And so what's really interesting though is like just the fact that like you're actually talking about the strength of relationship in both.
Yeah.
Right? Like we kind of chalk up and say, yeah, my network is growing, or I'm networking.
Yeah.
Or like, yeah, my audience is growing because I have more followers
Yeah.
now, or this or that. But like, I think what's really cool is like how I think obsessed you are with the strength of each of those relationships.
For sure.
You know, you have to build that. And I think that's so crucial.
Yeah, because networking is a buzzword, right? And something I like to do is I farm specific niches, right? And this is when you're in a specific space and you got great results, or you've done something great in your space specifically, you're going to be able to find 6-7 other people in the space that you kind of have affinity with that you can talk to. Now, one of those people in the space can have a connect with someone who's in a completely different industry, still some partial affinity, and then now there's some sort of benefit with that individual as well too. But it's a constant value exchange, right? And that's the benefit of the online presence is you're going to be able to any person that you can even fathom, you're going to be able, you're one connection away.
Yeah. Beautiful.
I think that's kind of where our desire to build our personal brands had come from, right? Like I think I might have been the first one to just be on Twitter, and I was looking up very specific questions like around media buying, right? So at the time, this was like post iOS update, so account structures or creatives or like offers or like exclusions, right? So I'd look up literally the words Facebook ad account structure.
Yeah.
And I just found this pit of just media buyers talking about all this. And I was like, shit, there's a whole world in here. And so once you start following a bunch of different people, the whole, I guess, algorithm starts putting out the right content that you want to see. And I was like, I want to get involved in this conversation because I want to be a part of it. I want to ask questions. I want to provide value. And so there was that one thread I put out. It was like, here's what we're doing like after the iOS update that helped us. And if it helps, great. That went viral. And like it hit that audience. And like from that moment on, you started connecting with all these different people from like different media buyers or agencies or brand owners. And it's like, what do I do with this now? Right. Yeah. So I think the biggest question that I have for you is like, how do you, I guess like when you have that viral moment, you start to grow, right? It's like, there's so many opportunities that open itself up. How do you decide like what to go after?
So it's totally based off of the objective of your online presence, right? If the objective of your online presence is to build Obvi, right? It is to network with other people in the space. You look at it kind of like insider information. If you have 10 other of the top media buyers in the world, we have people like Zachariel Duncan, right? Who's a friend of mine who I've known before I built my presence, right? He comes in and he likes that thread of yours. And he reaches out to you saying, hey, I actually tried this exact method, but this one specifically worked for me. And 8 others come in as well too now. And all of these specific media buyers have 10 clients each. You got tapped into 100 people's ad accounts, right? And now you have the opportunity to, based off of all those, find whatever congruent main points of value are that all of them have, and you apply that to your brand. You're not, the steps it takes you to test something else and choosing a test simplifies from 100 possibilities to 3.
Yep.
Right? Because of the people in the space now. Yeah. But it's totally dependent on your objective. For building DTC brands, that's the move.
Chew on This is sponsored by one crucial strategy that we just can't ignore as D2C brands, and that's email and SMS. We'll be sending a ton, and guess who's our go-to? We use SendLane. It's not just another tool, it's a revolution. With real-time segmentation, you're reaching users with precision when you hit send on that email or SMS. The reporting UI, you may ask, it's a breath of fresh air. Simple, straightforward, and gets right to the point. No more sitting through confusing data and random charts you have no idea about what it's saying. And here's the crown jewel, their customer support. Round the clock, weekends, holidays, 24/7, 365, always open like 7-Eleven. No exceptions, they've got your back always. If you want to elevate your email and SMS game and you're tired of what everyone in the industry is used to using, check out SendLane and see why SendLane is the name that's buzzing in everyone's ears. Dive in and you'll thank us later. Now, let's get back to the episode.
I think I always have this like weird conversation in my head where it's like you've seen brand owners like build a personal brand, but like for the business, right, that they're in, right? So like, for example, Rise, right? Nick Stella, his personal branding is how he built the business. It's all about education around the product and this and that.
Yeah.
And then us as brand owners, we're not necessarily talking about the product, but we're talking about how we've built the business. And like, I've always like wondered, like, should we have gone down the route of being a voice for education around collagen, or do we become a voice for education around business? So that's like, I guess that those are the opportunities that you have to kind of, you know, weigh the options there.
For sure, right? So the personal brand side immediately doesn't have a tangible ROI on your sales of exact revenue directly coming in. There's an extra layer over here of networking, knowledge, and then you apply, which actually brings in the revenue for the business, right? So if you were to do a collagen brand on Twitter, what would you cap out at realistically? 20, 30,000 followers.
Probably.
Not all of those guys are going to continuously buy. How many people are actually on collagen Twitter versus money Twitter, right? Money Twitter, where all the founders and CEOs are consistently providing value to each other, right? So like, I feel like it's very tough for founders and CEOs to have their own knowledge bases and hubs, right? And kind of like libraries. Twitter becomes a library to discuss opportunities of what's working, right? BFCM right now, we're going to be able to reflect on the greatest DTC brands in the space, what worked and what didn't work for them, and I can study that. I'm able to see, for example, the owner of ConvertKit or the owner of retention.com, people like these guys are talking about strategies that's working in their business, what's not working, and then you guys are going to be able to come in and read those knowledge pieces versus what would you get from Twitter if you built or a social media account for MyObvi on Twitter, maybe 300-400 new customers on a monthly basis, right? Versus the ROI you would get from all of these guys, right? So I think you made the right decision.
I hope so.
Yeah, I think just, you know, the other piece to this is like when we're creating content right now and building our personal brand, I think the one piece that you said is like choosing what the initial objective was or what the end objective is. I actually think that's way easier said than done. I think obviously someone like you, let's say you have much more clear mind of like, this is where I want to be because you may have experienced XYZ versus like, I joined Twitter because Ash was growing like crazy and he's like, hey, hop on here. Right. And like, there was no objective besides vanity metrics of, damn, I kind of want to get the dopamine hit of follow. And I think the tough part is when you kind of are, you kind of get over the dopamine hit and you're like, oh wait, the new dopamine is going to be if I make money off of this now, right? And I'm sure soon there'll be, after making money, there'll be something else where it's like, maybe I'll get to meet a celebrity, right? Or maybe I'll get to fly to the moon. And it's like you know, with AXA, like just whatever it is. I just feel like though, I feel like there is objectives, but the objectives are also like blossoming based on like how you're doing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't think I would have ever thought to look at a platform and be like, I want to go and do this. So I'm going to start this. I don't know if that makes sense.
It does. It totally does, because opportunities arise with time after you put in consistent amount of work within that area of specialty. So for example, it's business luck, right? When you show up daily inside of business and whatever the specific business is, the luck areas start arising and then the opportunities come in. So when it comes to anything as business owners, we have North Stars, we have our visions of what we're actually trying to build towards. The micro details we couldn't care less about in the moment. We know that those are going to be coming within time to reach our end goal. It's like the red line effect. You start right here, you're over here. Your objective is to be at this point specifically within the next 2 years. How do you reach it? If you do a task that's here, task that's here, task that's here, it's going to take you so long to follow through the red line to reach there. But if all of your work is very close to the red line, the time it takes you to reach that actual endpoint is a lot quicker. So if you have this end outcome of what the actual objective of the account is, which we'll discuss, is just to become this authority and be able to find other people in the space that can help with a specific element of the DTC brand, right? For example, on my paid ads, for example, people to discuss within the creatives, or it could be to create your own offer specifically for that specific audience, right? A lot of DTC brands, margins aren't always going to be the best. So people look and build their own online presences purposely to add extra cash flow coming in that can be automated because you have the experience, and you have to look for unfair advantages. Right? An unfair advantage in the space. What is your leverage point? If 100 people are coming in to build their online presence, how many of them built a brand from 40 months to 40 million? 2? Maybe not even 1? Probably 0.5, right? And realistically, that's your unfair advantage. You leverage that point to get that initial base, and then the opportunities start arising.
I think one thing you said, it's like, all right, we'll pick a point here, and then it's like, all right, let's work our way there, right? I think for us, it's like, I don't know if there was ever a goal that we put out there to be like, okay, well, we're going to do this, this, and this to hit that, right? Or it was like, we're going to start a podcast, but we have to build a following. Let's do that, right? I think the opportunities will like present itself if you maintain that like authenticity and like that power of authority, right? So like when I was like tweeting about just media buying, like I just truly enjoyed it, right? Like right before going to bed, again, searching these like conversations and just being able to contribute, right? And then getting that dopamine hit of like, people actually like what I'm saying, right? So you get the follows, you get the likes and stuff like that. So I guess in the beginning, do you really have to have a goal in mind, or is it more of like, just like get started?
So that would have been 2-3 years ago. When did you start your account?
Like 2 years ago?
The problem is market sophistication, right? As more and more people start entering the space, old methods that seem to be the end all be all were now presented for free for people. People start implementing that. And now the old best state is people's new normal, right? And as markets sophisticate continuously, you get stuck, right?
Give an example of that. Is that like threads?
Yeah, for example, absolutely. Or a specific structure of a thread, or those motivational tweets or platitude tweets, right? Those one-liners, right? Markets continuously sophisticate. You can see this with offers as well too, where at one point everyone was talking about drop shipping with TikTok, right? And then now everyone in the space was able to do it. No one's just only talking about TikTok anymore. TikTok Shop came in. Everyone talked about TikTok Shop. Now people are quieting out from it. Influencer marketing had its big win 2 years ago. How many people are talking influencer marketing right now besides specific niche accounts? So market sophistication is always something that comes in and can screw entirely with your overall objective, right? Authenticity is the right word over here. The objective isn't necessarily to laser in on one overall goal the entire time. It's to test out what your specific voice is and the value that you can provide to people based off of current events, based off the current trends that you're seeing. And that's the beauty about building your brand, because you take those lessons over to your actual social media presence as well too. That's where the content comes in. And there's 3 objectives. And we spoke about this earlier today, is authority, there is the technical, and then there is stories. People are so obsessed with technical. Technical was the wave until 6 months ago, and then market sophisticate. As a market sophisticates, if people are only producing that content, 100 other people are doing the same thing, you're just going to be ignored, right? To constantly be ahead, you have to see what the sophistication level is, right? On the 5 stages of awareness and sophistication levels, see what points you could be talking about that people are most interested in and teach them. You just need to be 1, 2, 3 levels ahead of people, not 10, because we talk timing. If you're too early in the space for anything, for a software, for an idea, for a brand, it's not going to pop off. If you're too early on an idea to teach people, it's not going to do anything. But if you're talking about a media buying tactic that only works for you guys specifically right now, people can ignore it. But if it's something that people can relate to because they're all in this same particular bucket, then they'll be happy. So technical content is not the end all be all. Story-based content where your experiences come in. Everything we do is a story. From our interactions from going to driving to Long Island and coming to an epiphany. Everything in life, if you tap into your inner voice, you are learning something and connecting neurons. Those neurons is what other people are curious about on their journeys, right? Sometimes you have a piece of advice in your head that means nothing to you, but someone comes in, says one word, and it connects something within the head, and then that's when you have your epiphany, right? So that's the story-based content. Then there's authority. Authority is, as much as this sucks to say, people are shallow. People are very shallow, and they will rub the balls and rub the nuts of somebody who talks about a little bit about numbers, right? People want to be friends with that person, especially the first to know. It's like when you listen to music. What do people see when they listen to music? I knew this underground rapper first. I knew this individual. People want to be the first one to know this individual. Look how proudly I spoke about, I'm victim to this, about Carl and Dylan, right? Because I was first to know of these greats in the space. So when you talk about these authority numbers, 40, 50K, 100K followers is not the world, right? It's still baby numbers. I knew this person at this range, right? And then people come in and that's when they want to see the numbers, what you generated, how you reach those results, your transformations, and that's what you're sharing. You're building an audience of people who believe in what you believe and have a personal connection with you where you can also teach them at the same time.
Brilliant.
I actually had a call today with somebody, just a service partner, and we were talking a little bit about maybe some like promo, right? So like, hey, like we want to do a case study with you, this type of stuff, like help us out on the fees, right? And the first thing he said was like, I love what you and Ron are doing is because you're building your personal brand. You guys have an audience. You can, like, people care about how you guys are building your business, right? But what he said to me, which is like, I may not disagree with or agree with, but is like, I just don't have time for it. I don't see a need for it, right? So like, what do you tell the people that are in that space where it's like, whether it's like SaaS or like services, whatever it is, like, is personal branding like important for the success of whatever you're doing?
Yeah, I believe when it comes to SaaS in particular, you're going to notice that if it's B2B specifically, the businesses are actually on Twitter as well too. Not consumer. I'm not talking B2C, B2B specifically. You're going to see a lot of those consumers buying in. My community, for example, it's in the building specific offer niche. And we grew 65 total 100 paying members off of one social media profile, right? It becomes its own acquisition source. SendLane, prime example. Founder comes on the platform, obsesses over the platform. People in the space realize the potential. He caters to each individual's needs one by one. And he farms one individual group, expands one layer out, one layer out, one layer out, reaches you guys. Then people start transferring, right? A lot of people in the space leave the competitor to join them in particular. What happened? Why did they do that? It's because of the vision. You're able to sell the vision. I'm not talking about selling your own current DTC product on the social platform. I'm talking about being able to show other potential investors, potential VCs, potential individuals who own their own audiences and are big on social media. It's like there's people with 2 billion likes on their TikTok just building their personal brand on Twitter right now, right? And they're hunting for these offers. They're hunting for these people to back up and be around. And then that's where the network buzzword expands.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jimmy did a great job.
Yeah,
I mean, he's a master of his craft, right? I think his content has always been like email, SMS, like what you should be doing.
Yeah, and obsessing over it.
And then it's like that is the go-to guy. Like I think Sean at Ridge, right? Like I think he put out a screenshot, like Jimmy is in his Slack channel. They're not even on SendLane yet, but Jimmy is helping them out with email. Like that is...
Yeah, you can't beat that.
You can't beat that, right? Like now Sean and Ridge, this massive account is most likely going to migrate over. Right. But all it took was just a little bit of personal relationship building.
Like when it comes to the SaaS realm and any audience building, what's the most important period? It's really understanding your first 100 customers entirely every single detail about them. I should know their children's birthday,
Yep.
right? I should know every detail about them so I can give them this greatest experience. Zach Williams talks about results are a commodity. Right, every result, every software realistically becomes its own commodity. It's just their own little tiny little details that make them all different. What changes everything now is experience, right? Without the experience that is going to make you stand up from everyone else. If someone's telling me that they're too busy for it, they're too busy for what? Being able to connect with their perfect prospect and their perfect user and building relationships with them to be able to improve your product for the greatest equitable value in the future. Then that's on you, man.
Hey guys, we're gonna take a quick break from the episode to analyze some of our top performing ads in our ad account. A lot of people have been asking me, what have you been running, statics, videos? Well, I'm gonna show you our top performing ads utilizing a platform called Motion, which pretty much analyzes all the data of all of our top performing creatives, ROAS, by spend, by CTR, CPCs, everything. So check it out. What's going on, guys? Today we are reviewing another ad creative that is a top performer over the last 90 days. I'm going to talk about why I think it works and some iterations we might make because of it. And hopefully you can take this and work it into your ad account. So let's get into it. I think I saw another brand doing something similar and it kind of sparked an idea here. And so one of the biggest things, especially when you're running ads, is how do you call out the right user, right? So typically you do this with a headline or maybe your ad copy or whatever it is, but this is how you can get to a very specific audience by listing out the problems that your product solves, right? So I really like this kind of split screen. On the left side, you have problems. If you're dealing with PCOS belly, which is a problem that our customers are facing. And I know this because we dive through our comments, reviews, everything. And so we wanted to hit this angle because it's something that, our customers care about a lot. So if you're dealing with PCOS belly, hormone imbalances, low energy, all three of these problems are synonymous with this avatar. The solution is this product, right? So if you relate to any of these, you take a look, you're like, okay, cool, let me check this out because I tick the box for all three. Let me go and learn more about this product. This one is super easy to recreate. Again, it comes down to understanding your customer avatar, understanding what their problems were before you sell to them, right? And so the way to do this is post-purchase surveys, literally asking them, what were you dealing with before you decided to try this product? And then figuring out after, did this product actually help their issues, right? So very easy ad to recreate. Doesn't take a lot here. This you don't need a lot of photography here. You can literally set this up in Canva. But the main part here is the research phase behind it, and not the template itself. So definitely try this out. It can be utilized to hit many different parts of the audiences. If your product solves a problem for multiple different people with multiple different problems, this is a great way to tackle all of them. So definitely try this out and let me know how it goes. If you're looking to sign up for Motion, click the link in the description for a special offer today.
Now, let's get back to the episode. We're like going down this journey of talking about content. And I want to talk about not just the creation, but the analysis and what means content did well. What are some of the current KPIs? Because even in personal branding, there's KPIs. But, because I think on our end, like we're using multiple sources to tell us if our content's good, but especially like Motion, right? Mm-hmm. Like just for D2C, I mean, you're jumping into there and it tells you everything, right? Yep. And so it's like on the personal brand side, content you're creating, whether it's a tweet, thread, a story, a technical piece, or something that you're putting out, or a video, how have you over these years assessed content?
So assessing content is very difficult as the algorithm changes. All of Twitter before and most social media platforms were follower based. Remember, all you had to do is your content being shown to followers. Then For You pages come along. For You pages are giving you tailored content on every social media based off of other posts that you engage with in particular, right? And I think this is where people are getting Twitter wrong. People are still observing their personal brand as the people who are specifically following them. I have 131,000 followers on Twitter right now. How many impressions am I getting? 15,000? What about the other 116? right? And out of those 15,000, they're not actually all my followers. It's actually coming majority from the specific For You page. So your objective is to enter a specific bucket of a type of audience. And in that bucket, there's different buckets inside the algorithm right now where a type of audience is with their personality, the type of content that they enjoy. And you want to enter 3 or 4 of these specific buckets where the perfect prospect and the perfect audience for you is inside of those. How do you analyze that? Well, the most absurd metric is obviously going to be your engagement, right? Your engagement rate. Now, engagement comes in on 2 different sides over here. You're going to have engagement of viral content where you can post a cool ad and everyone talks about it. That's not getting you your prospects, right? That's vanity engagement. I'm talking engagement where you're sitting at 4 to 5% total engagement rate based off of your follower range and based off your account. People are coming in from the For You page, from your actual followers, and they're obsessing and engaging with your comments, and you're getting at least 20, 30 comments per post, right? On your guys' specific follower range. Why is that important? Because remember, networks are buzzwords. What matters is friendships. To build friendships, you need discussions. To have discussions, you need to ask questions to people. You guys aren't the only ones who need to be discussing with people to get into the For You page. I need to be doing it as well too. But if I get 55 comments of everyone giving me a fire emoji, what the hell incentive do I have to comment? Right? If you got to trick the way through the algorithm. If I respond back to your post, you're going to be shown on the For You page or to all of my followers now. Right? Now you're borrowing other people's audiences. If we can understand analytically that you're entering a bucket, you're creating the greatest content for that specific bucket, engagement's popping, you're responding to all the individuals in between and building the actual relationships, you're going to be shown on the For You page. Yeah, you can have 1 or 2 viral pieces. My most viral piece had 8,000 likes. That's not a lot of likes. That's viral. However, the personal brand has been able to do exceptionally well throughout the years. So it totally depends on where you're trying to produce the content for, what type of audience group.
Would you say if I had a choice between putting out one piece of content and spend the rest of time engaging versus putting out 5 pieces of content but not engaging, what option or route?
The primary. And that one piece of content, a personal brand should take no more than 30 minutes a day, right? Once after you come over the first hurdle of learning anything new and getting a little experience with nuances. But if you can produce one exceptional piece of content that the algorithm is currently favoring, then you're going to and then befriend all the other people in the comment section, you're gonna yield amazing results. But if you can do both, 5 and engage, you're on top of everybody. Yeah. Because shelf life of a tweet, of a piece of content, and any social media is not long. The shelf life of YouTube is, yes, evergreen, right? Ads you can be running forever. But on organic content, they die. 7 minutes to 15 minutes on a tweet is not a long time, right? I can tweet something today and I can tweet it 8 hours down the road, copy and paste it. I will have an entire new set of eyes looking at my content, right? So I would focus on providing the greatest amount of value and engaging with people and discussing with the people simultaneously.
How are you determining or finding the right pieces of content to engage with?
That's a good one. To engage with? Engaging specifically is farming the niches as well too, right? You're gonna find 15 people. There's this saying, I forgot who said it, but they say you're gonna get tired of your angle before your audience even recognizes it. It's kind of the same thing with who you're engaging with. You're gonna get tired of engaging with the same accounts before they start recognizing you specifically, right? So you can trick your way through engaging with people. You can subscribe on Twitter to people's content, pay $25 a month. Now those people are gonna go in their subscriptions list. They're going to know you, they follow you. This is how I got some big guys in the space to follow me. I engage with them, I can DM them now, right? So there's specific things like that, but it's realistically finding 15 accounts. And now you brought up a good point of how are you coming up with accounts to engage with. The same principle is how do you come up with content to create based for these specific accounts so they care. It's all based off of questions, frequently asked questions that your perfect prospect has. Frequently asked questions that people care for. For you guys, who's following you guys right now? It's media buyers, it's DTC brands looking to scale and build. Well, the questions you're answering in particular is how are you planning out your BFCM 2 months ago, right? How are you making sure that you're going to get 350 creatives done? What is the system? How are you going to make sure that you guys are going to generate XXXX in the next time frame, right? And you're figuring out the questions they have and you're answering those through all the different types of vehicles. This can be short form, this could be the reels, this could be LinkedIn long form posts, whatever. It could be an email. You're choosing the questions. It's efficient. It's purposeful content. You're writing things that truly matter. It's like when you're creating UGC creatives, you give the brief and you tell them exactly what outcome you want from this, what the main bullet points are. It's the same principle here. You're defining an FAQ and you're writing everything purposefully. I don't know why people think we gung-ho this, right? There is no gung-ho here. Everything is so simple of creating purposeful work that people truly care about. And from there, the people that are going to engage, you respond back with discussions.
That's great. I want to get some like perspectives. I have some questions around like, just what you think about from the outside looking in. What do you think most D2C brands are doing wrong today?
In what context?
In the context of the climate that we're in, and the way the market is, the way the consumer behavior is. What aren't D2C brands doing? Like, what should they be doing that they aren't?
So the same principle of when I said results were a commodity previously is the same thing with DTC brands today. Every niche is kind of a commodity. Like everything that we can offer, no matter how different we can make an ingredient, no matter what tiny little cool patent we can have, none of that is going to truly make you stand out from everybody else in the space, right? We're tweaking a feature. We're tweaking the tiniest value prop. What truly matters in these days, and this is something that I've been preaching, with a personal brand, is getting this audience of people who believe in what you believe, aka community. And I don't think any DTC brand has community properly right now. And it's not a problem when it comes to the brand, it's Shopify. Right? And the reason for that is, why the hell am I getting someone to buy my product? Then I lead them to Discord, or I lead them to Facebook group, or I lead them to whatever this other platform is, and making someone have to learn how to use this specific community and getting to open a new application. We need our own application for community within the freaking Shopify app store that plugs into the store where you can log in and you have your own marketplace inside, or you're able to nurture the individual forums, right, directly for the user to use. I don't think enough DTC brands have two things: the face for the brand, where someone is rallying the people up, educating the people, providing value, providing entertainment for these individuals, and building this community. And then the second half is the actual management, recurring community of getting people, platform, right?
I think that's a really, really good perspective, because I think we talk about community a lot, but I think we also don't get to talk about the challenges enough, which is it is challenging to tell people, hey, you've just done all these actions on, the website. Now go and open your email and click on the link in there to go to Facebook, join a group, and we hope that the mobile app popped up so that you're not using the web browser experience. And we hope that you engage now and then come back tomorrow. And
too many friction points.
Yeah.
But the people in the community right now, you guys are generating revenue. These are VIP customers, right? The LTV drastically improves because you have 50,000 people within the community.
That's right.
Right? And all of those individuals, you do product tests to them. You give them early access to stuff. You can show them the benefits of the new variations of the products, and you always have that first list of people for launches as well too, right? But at the same time, all of those people become their brand advocates. And I don't think enough people talk about brand advocates. We pay so much out of pocket for UGC when all of these people in the community could be creating free UGC for us, right? All of these people in the community, if they believe in what we believe, they would be standing on top of the mountain and singing whatever song we want to give them. Right? Community of the people who stand behind conviction, something that you have conviction over. If a DTC brand is selling something, you better have total conviction that what you're selling is going to save someone, or it's going to solve the biggest problem with whatever they have. If you don't have the truest conviction in what you're specifically selling, people can't stand behind it. The greatest leaders in the world have a conviction around an idea, some sort of message, some narrative, and they can angle it in any way and back that up. When you give reasons to back up whatever the message conviction you have for your program or your product, and all these other people start rallying behind it, they will sell those angles for you. They sell those points for you across all these other socials. And I don't think DTC brands have tapped into community. And community, I can't stand the word because people have been saying it for 5 years now. I was going to Recharge events in 2019. People were talking about the importance of community. What the hell does community even mean? Community is management. There's no innovation in community. You're having your events, you have your little series, you have your ways to engage with people and promote. There is no sense of innovation or new tasks that need to be involved. It's setting up the recurring task systems correctly within the community and making sure you have one face for the community who is bubbly, who is going to be in the community hyping everybody up.
And acquiring into.
Absolutely. Right. And that's where you have your own like your commerce section in the community, right? Like, and that's the problem. If you have Facebook group, how are you going to sell people? Bring them back to the website, bring them over here. If everything was all in one.
Yeah. It's brilliant. I'd love to know from your perspective, just a brand that a D2C brand that you do love, and maybe give me a couple of reasons why. And it could be a product that you consume, could be a company that you like, or a company that you just love what they're doing, and give me, because again, I think the perspectives of why you like or love something are maybe different from obviously a lot of others.
Yeah.
So I would love to understand, because I think you're probably taking a deeper view at some brands.
For sure. I think my favorite brand as of right now has to be Represent CLO. Have you seen those gentlemen before?
No.
Represent.
But I'm sure Pep will pull it up here on the pod.
Exceptional brand. They're clothing.
Okay.
They have their own strength. And another one actually is, if you guys might know, is Kill Crew by Colty Bra. Have you seen that gentleman on Twitter?
I think I have.
He built his brand 3 years ago in a Facebook community as a test to build in public. That brand is now being worn by Jake Paul.
Wow.
Multiple UFC fighters wearing it, training in it. And this is an 8-figure brand now, multi-8-figure brand built in 3 years. And the reason I loved it is because his entire brand was built off of a specific narrative of you're going to kill your own negative traits.
Yeah.
Right? That's all it was. Kill Crew, right? And you're fighting against these. And the designs aren't anything spectacular constantly. It's not about
messaging.
it's messaging. Carte Blanc.
Yeah.
Have you seen
I love that one.
What is the genius element about their offers? The drop structure.
Yeah.
Mixing in drop structures with conviction, with an actual community behind it. That's the trinity.
That's it.
That's the trinity.
Yeah.
Everyone can offer designs.
Yeah.
Everyone can offer the same product, right? It's the way you're presenting this, adding some sort of urgency, building that community, having that message.
Yep.
But to create that real message, you need to be able to figure out the truest reasons why people are buying, and that's just your research.
I mean, Bart over at Dad Gang did a really good job with it too. It's just hats that are just say Dad Gang and 8-figure brand. You know?
And some of these other guys, Bombas Socks, have you heard of them?
Yes.
Altruism. How many DTC brands are leveraging altruism? If 10 DTC brands right now offer the exact same thing, but one of those brands is doing something that gives back, you now have a reason to take one step forward with that specific brand. Altruism of whatever that percentage can be. They buy one pair of socks, you give away, right? And what are they promoting on their website? Right on the above the fold, we've given away 50 million socks.
Yeah. No, I again, that's why I wanted to ask you this, because I think you look at the different perspectives. It's very true.
I think the advice that's always been out there, it's like even we fall fault to this. It's like, start a community, just start a Facebook group, just do this, do that, right? I think what you just said kind of struck a nerve, because it's like we have the community, and as much as we like tout it around and we're like, oh, we have 75,000 people, it's really cool. It's like, I honestly, like, I feel like this year, genuinely, like, we haven't given so much attention to the people in there. Like, people don't know who we are anymore, right? It's like I think we've started building our personal brand, like, on the social side for like business, but like we forgot to build like our personal brand within the community in itself, right? It's like who am I buying from, right? There's a product that is a commodity when you go to a Walmart, right? Like, why am I continuing to pay double the price for something that, like, if I knew who the
really
person
true.
or the face is, like, I can relate to them, or if they have a story, or just the fact that they care, it would be a reason enough, you know?
Like, why do people stand behind a country for war? Why do people stand behind a leader that has the most absurd vision? Why do people rally around and run in with full energy and force with one person? Because that one person has a vision. Steve Jobs was an absolute madman. Any of these greatest founders you see are absolute, they're crazy, right? They seem loco, but you just have this sense of things are actually going to work out, and I can trust this individual that this is actually the best because they're willing to die on this hill, right? And if you're not showing that to your audience that you're willing to die on the hill of whatever you're offering, you're a commodity.
Yeah. I mean, we try. I mean, even
Good
like,
point, yeah.
was it like 2 years ago? We had an advisor come in, Josh Hall.
Yep.
He said, "Why aren't you guys like not in the community every day?
Yeah.
Like go live in the community once a week." And we did it. We did it for a little bit, but I mean, it's like, all right, you still have the business to run and this and that. And like, while we had fun, the comments were quality.
Yeah.
It's like they learned about us, right? We did Q&As with each other. We did stupid shit like freestyling or whatever it is, like just to like connect with somebody. It doesn't matter where it is. I think like I agree with on a technical standpoint, like Shopify definitely should make an app for this, but like I don't care where it is. It's like just being able to like connect even with just one person a day, that person's buying from you for life.
And it doesn't necessarily have to be you guys. A lot of people can just hire out a face for the brand. It doesn't necessarily have to be you. Some person who truly understands the vision of the brand and they can speak to you guys, and you guys can speak with full conviction via voice messages and get them to write the long form content. That would work. But one person who's your ideal ICP? Find someone who is that ICP word for word. Same way you guys did with UGC, right? That one ICP manages and runs it fully. It doesn't necessarily have to be you guys.
Yeah, I think we had both us and someone, and I think we stripped both. Which and you see the effect.
Yeah.
You see that like, who am I buying from is a very good question.
People need to be roaring your name, and any brand that you have, people need to be. You should be able to control the climate. If you sneeze, everyone should feel it, right? And that's because you announce something that everyone's excited for. And I think there is no better example than Nelk. There's not I don't think I've ever seen. Have you guys? There's nobody in the space who has built that community first, right? How were they able to generate 9 figures in 2021, 2022 off of not even that many followers, right? A couple million on all socials. A lot of these brands have these numbers themselves too, but they're not able to do that off of 12 drops a year, right? And it's all because people were roaring their name, and that's because they practiced what they preached. They were in the front lines themselves as the generals here, standing tall and preaching this message. What is your guys' message? What is your phrase? And it's different than a tagline. It is what can you plaster and tattoo on yourself that you know is going to rally people up.
Yeah.
They're called memetics, right? A memet, not a meme itself as like an image or video meme. A memetic is like Alex Hormozy. He has his wife beater on and his nose thing. That's his memetic. People will always recognize the brand for that. A memetic can be a phrase. It can be some sort of branded colors. It can be something that people remember, but the colors are not enough. What do people think about McDonald's? The golden arches, right? It's not just necessarily the phrase. I'm loving it. We need memetics around phrases that people can rally around. Let them preach that out for you all over the world.
Your favorite book?
Transformations by Richard Bandler and John Grinder. It teaches you about hypnosis, and I also like Propaganda by Edward Bernays, and Reality Transurfing is also by Vadim. I forgot his last name, but the 3 exceptional
We're gonna
books.
pull up all these on the screen.
Favorite Twitter account to follow?
Nick Huber.
Huber is good. What do you listen to music wise?
I don't listen to music.
Not at all.
No, I listen to Interstellar. I'm not a music guy, and the reason for that
What
is
is Interstellar?
Interstellar. You know the movie Interstellar.
Yeah.
They have like this focus music in the background.
Yeah.
I lose my mind when I see normal music or I listen to normal music because the bad affirmations inside of it kind of fuck with my head sometimes, and I overthink about like some of the bad words. Like for example, your great times means you're gonna fall after, and it's like Travis talks about that line. I'm like, that's absurd. Why would I repeat that to myself?
Wow.
Favorite movie?
Favorite movie?
He doesn't watch movies.
I don't really watch movies either, man. Huh?
Podcast. Favorite podcast.
Podcasts, like the ones that I caught.
Obviously, besides this
Besides
one.
this
Yeah.
one, like truly, I don't really listen to many. I've listened to this one quite a few times with like Harvey, for example, right? But I don't. Favorite podcast, I feel like majority of people just like regurgitate the same information over and over again and
Yeah.
have like the same stories and all that, and
Yeah.
it gets exhausting. So I don't listen to a lot of podcasts.
What do you do for fun?
For fun, experience life. I travel. I've lived around the world for the past 7 years. I've lived in Spain, Panama, Costa Rica, Dominican, Dubai, and I love the chaos of my work. And I love when I'm off of work, I want to be calm. I want my feet on the ground, on the grass, and I want to be disconnected from everything. You can ask your team today. I didn't touch my phone, maybe 5-7 minutes total. When I'm present, I'm present. I just want to stay present.
I think the last question. Should everybody have a personal brand?
Without a fucking doubt.
Oh man, what a fucking episode, dude!
Love it.
I'm gonna have to listen to it like 3 times.
One thing that you want viewers to take away and implement in their life or business or whatever it is, what's that one chew?
Systems are everything, but the only thing that you cannot systemize is real relationships. When you're befriending people and you're trying to expand the network, you need to have true intentions to give them everything that they can need to succeed. You do this well once, they will reciprocate it. They will do this to someone else. And it's the most simplified process to not only make the world a better place, but to make your own world a better place. Everything is built off of your context, realistically. Everything that you're going to be able to do is based off those contexts. Build real, actual relationships with people that you can invite to your weddings and nurture for life.
Chew
Chew on that.
man. Jeez.
If you want more from us, follow us on Twitter, follow us on Instagram, follow us on TikTok, and check out the website chewonthis.io.